Gentlemen, now there are much more people here in front of the stage, in front of the final of the 8th World Beer Sommelier Championship in 2025. Yeah, since my first greetings, more guests have arrived. Welcome here to the final. And as a managing director of the Dömens Academy, I'm really proud to see such a big audience. So thank you very much for your coming and thank you for your interest. Yes, this weekend we have really an impressive competition, and yesterday in the afternoon there started 93 participants from 18 different countries. It's the biggest world championship since its first inception in 2009. And if you take a look around here, I said it 2 hours ago, you will see such a competition would not be possible without support. And we got a big support. Here you see our sponsors, our main sponsors here, Bad Haas, one of the world leading hop trade companies, and of course a drink tech. Everybody who is familiar in this beverage industry who knows tomorrow will the biggest fair and the most important fair in the beverage industry will open his door here in the Munich fair. Then we have other very, very good sponsors. You see here the glass design company Rastal, Siemens, Anton Paar and Kampa Bavaria. These all are companies they know very well that it is not only to make big deals within that industry, but they stand for enjoyment, for the diversity of beer, and that's the reason why they support our competition. It's really great for them. And then we have two brewery associations, the Swiss Brewery Association and the Austrian Brewer Association, and everybody who is familiar with this development in these two countries with the brewing industry knows, yes, really, they made a big step forward during the last 20-25 years, and now we have really a good diversity, really a high quality of beers in these two countries. And it's, for me, really an important side. If you do so, that's a good frame for all companies, for all breweries, for the small one and for the bigger one. So thank you for your support, and without you, it wouldn't work. So, but now we want to turn our attention to the finals. You know, the most important protagonists of the final are, of course, the 6 participants. But without a competent jury, you can be sure we wouldn't have a champion at the end of the day. And this year we have a very special panel for the 8th World Championship. We have decision makers who know what they are talking about because they have been world champions of the beer sommelier themselves. I will show you the pictures. Maybe you see them in live. So, the world champion from 2022, Giuliano Giannoni, is one of them. So the next jury member we have is Stefan Hilbrand. The champion from 2017 from Germany. So next picture is Simon Mattia Riva. He won the competition in 2015 in Sao Paulo. Next jury member is Oliver Wesselo. And if you look at Oliver in live and on picture, there's a small difference. But Oliver won the championship in 2013. So the next one is Karl Schiffner. Karl has been the very first world champion in 2009 at the first World Beer Sommelier Championship. And now we invited another world champion. I think she told Jens that she would come. Maybe the train is loaded. That could happen in Germany. I don't know. But we thought if something happens in front of this final, we should have a person who can do that. And so we are really happy to have here the next one. She is not a champion, but she is a managing director of the Association of the Beer Sommelier, and really Nicola knows what she are talking about. She has been a teacher at Dömens, and now I guess since 4 or 5 years, or 7 years, she's a managing director of the association. So thank you, Nicola, for being a jury member today. Yeah, now we are prepared. We have the 6 participants. We have our jury, and then to go on, we have our Jens. Everybody should have his Jens.
Wir müssen noch Österreich announcen. Die hätten den gesagt, dass wir das jetzt machen.
Ah, okay. Oh. Jens told me I should add another information because he's afraid after the competition, if I would say that, nobody would hear to me. You know, we need partners to run a beer sommelier championship, a competition. And the next partner is the Austrian Brewery Association. So we will do the next World Beer Sommelier Championship in 2027 in, I guess in Vienna. We will talk about it. So Florian, come on stage, and thank you very much for your cooperation. Do you want to say something?
Well, hello everyone. I'm excited as hell. I can't wait for the finals, and I can't wait to see all of you and some more in 2027 in Austria. I do not want to fix the date and time yet, but it will be Austria. Bierland, Österreich is very much looking forward to seeing you soon. And you guy from Latvia, you come in minimum 2 or 3 people next time, okay? No one-man army anymore. So thanks again, and from my point of view, as being one of the sponsors, thank you so much for the organization so far. Please bring it to a good end, and I'm very much looking forward to the next hour. So thank you, Werner.
Yeah. So, thank you again to Florian Berger, to the whole association of the breweries in Austria. But now let's step back to 25, to the final of the 8th World Beer Sommelier Championship. And now, Jens, it's your turn. Thank you.
Schreibst du Michael? Thank you, Werner. Thank you that you are still here. Austria is not so far from Italy, so let's hope the best and looking forward. That's what Michael said to me. Jens, look forward, and I do it. Welcome also at the stream. I'm very glad that we have a stream, and I'd like to say thank you to the whole Technic team here behind. And because without Technic, nothing will happen. We have no light and nothing. But let's look for the beers. And in the final, it's a little bit different than in the semifinals. Because in the semifinals, the participant didn't know what beer is in the glass. Glass is from Rastal. Now, they will know which beer they have, and now they can give us some stories. And perhaps you will find a red line in this afternoon or in this evening behind all of these beers. We will see what will happen. So we will look if the first participant is coming under this hiding role and which beer is there inside, and then the participant can start. And the first one is there in the back. It's Rodrigo Savamura from Brazil.
So,
Rodrigo, you wrote me in the email that you have an unwavering dedication for beer.
yes.
What does this mean?
Well, could I respond in português?
Yes, feel free.
Para mim, ter esse produto como profissão é algo extraordinário. E acho que a cerveja, ela trouxe para mim uma transformação não só como profissional, mas de vida também, me dando oportunidades que eu nem mesmo imaginava. Estar aqui pela terceira vez num palco de final do Campeonato Mundial de Sommeliers de Cervejas, para mim é muito orgulhoso, fico muito orgulhoso e espero que de alguma forma possa servir de inspiração para os novos participantes do Brasil, para a galera mais jovem que está aí torcendo bastante por nós e ser esse exemplo, né, de conseguir transmitir toda essa paixão que eu adquiri ao longo dessa jornada da cerveja, né, para a cerveja, conseguir transmitir para as pessoas que elas também se animem e queiram aprender um pouco mais sobre esse produto maravilhoso que a gente tem aqui como fonte de trabalho e de dedicação.
Thank you. Michael Zepf, you keep it in mind to translate it to me later.
All right.
I'm curious what you say. Unwavering dedication. That's not where you're here, or perhaps you can combine it with the first beer. Philip, wherever you are, we need a glass for our participant here on the stage. Without a glass, you can drink it out of the bottle.
All right.
I don't think so. That you want to drink it out of the bottle, the first beer.
All right.
With you on the
Uau! Vamos lá! Que espetáculo de cerveja! Acho que eu consigo iniciar a minha fala desta forma. Orval, talvez, para quem ainda não teve a oportunidade de conhecer, é uma das cervejas trapistas que eu mais admiro, que eu mais gosto e que sempre tenho por perto. Para começar a falar, já que eu me antecipei falando um termo diferente, talvez, trapista, queria contar um pouquinho sobre essa história, né? Esse termo ele surge há muito tempo atrás, séculos atrás. São Bento de Núrcia, onde foi o primeiro a escrever ali as regras desse comportamento, dessa doutrina beneditina que a gente tem e que se evoluiu para a gente chegar nesse momento aqui de uma cerveja trapista. Então, séculos atrás, a gente teve esse primeiro personagem escrevendo a respeito dessa ordem religiosa que tinha como principais características a história de abstinência desse mundo que a gente vive, voto à pobreza, trabalho e dedicação e oração. Então, a gente tem esse primeiro momento. Um pouco mais tarde, perto ali de 1098, alguns monges beneditinos, Alderico, Roberto e Estevão, eles reformulam e colocam uma outra ideia no ar a respeito dessa ordem, né, dando origem ao que a gente passou a conhecer como Ordem de Cister. Tá? Essa Ordem de Cister, que também era super rigorosa, que tratava desses elementos em relação a reza, trabalho, atividades manuais, ela teve o seu grande momento com São Bernardo, porém ela caiu em decadência. E assim ficou até mais ou menos 1664, quando lá no mosteiro de La Trappe, na França, decide-se Jean Renan de Nancy, decide ali reformular essa ordem, trazendo um pouco mais de flexibilidade, talvez, e, de fato, isso foi muito importante porque a ordem retomou o seu sucesso, né? Os mosteiros começaram a se desenvolver a partir disso, e, por conta disso, dessa nova ordem que passou a ser chamada, né, a Ordem Cisterciense da Estrita Observância, né, os monges que lá estavam passaram a ser reconhecidos como monges trapistas em homenagem a essa ordem. E é importante dizer, né, que a partir daí, né, os mosteiros começaram a se desenvolver, começaram a fabricar cervejas como fonte de renda também e passaram a desenvolver outros produtos. Entrando um pouquinho mais nessa questão de trapista, vale muito lembrar que trapista não é um estilo em si, mas sim é um modelo, como se fosse uma denominação de origem, onde existem regras. E para que um mosteiro tenha a sua cervejaria reconhecida, a sua cerveja reconhecida como trapista, ele precisa seguir alguns conceitos, como, por exemplo, né, a cerveja tem que ser fabricada dentro das instalações do mosteiro, a gente tem que ter um monge ou fazendo a cerveja ou controlando a fabricação dessa cerveja, e a cerveja não deve ter o grande objetivo comercial. Todo o lucro realizado por essa produção da cerveja deve ser destinado a obras de caridade da região e também para referenciar todos os mosteiros trapistas. Saindo um pouco, já que eu consegui contextualizar essa história do trapista, né, vou trazer um pouquinho de informação a respeito dessa cerveja. Né? Por que eu disse logo no meu início da minha fala, por que eu disse que para mim é uma das cervejas trapistas mais especiais? A gente tem, principalmente como produto, um aspecto adicional no processo de fabricação que transforma essa cerveja de uma forma que ela foge do convencional das principais cervejas trapistas que a gente encontra. Esse detalhezinho, né, ele acontece durante o processo de maturação, onde, no seu final, a gente tem a adição de um micro-organismo chamado Brettanomyces, que gosta, digamos assim, de uma forma mais tranquila de se falar, consumir, comer outros tipos de açúcares, e isso faz com que a cerveja adquira outros perfis sensoriais diferentes da grande maioria das cervejas belgas que tem foco no perfil frutado e fenólico. Já estou ficando com sede, nada mais justo do que, né, junto com essa percepção inicial que trouxe para vocês, tentar apresentar um pouco das descrições sensoriais da cerveja. Só para não parecer que eu cometi uma falha, eu sei que eu tenho um amigo com abridor aqui e eu tinha esquecido de pegar. Aqui estamos. Às vezes acontece. Talvez pela minha empolgação ao falar da cerveja carregando juntamente, ou porque, como disse, né, esse processo que existe, né, de uma segunda fermentação pelas Brettanomyces também, eventualmente, pode ocasionar o que a gente chama de gushing, que é quando a gente tem uma refermentação muito vigorosa e no momento de abrir a garrafa, pode ser que a formação de espuma seja um pouco mais vigorosa. E da mesma forma, ao fazer o serviço, nada mais justo que termos muita espuma. Não é o clássico da sommelieria, mas vamos atribuir esse pequeno deslize à questão da garrafa e, quem sabe, essa fermentação. Mas o que a gente pode observar? De cara, uma coloração dourada, alaranjada, com esses feixes, né, mais alaranjados, acobreados, uma excelente e vigorosa formação de espuma, uma espuma super compacta, de coloração quase que branca, um gelo, né, uma espuma muito robusta, muito interessante. Fazendo, né, a parte aromática da cerveja, o que a gente pode descobrir aqui? De cara, sinto a grande influência desse micro-organismo que eu havia comentado, a Brettanomyces, que ela traz para a cerveja, principalmente, alguns elementos que, tecnicamente, a gente descreve como componentes fenólicos, que pode lembrar algumas especiarias, alguns produtos ou alguns aromas que a gente fala mais rústicos, que lembram fazenda, né? Depois disso, um suporte muito elegante da parte maltada, né? Um suporte de maltes um pouco caramelados, dando um certo equilíbrio a essa cerveja. É possível perceber também, numa segunda camada, um pouquinho de uma tonalidade vinda da contribuição dos lúpulos, um leve herbal e um detalhezinho que instiga a gente já levar essa cerveja à boca. Não poderia deixar de saudá-los com saúde, cheers. Em boca, ela difere um pouco desse comportamento que a gente tem, espera de uma cerveja trapista convencional, onde o principal elemento não obrigatoriamente é o dulçor ou são os compostos de fermentação. A gente tem aqui uma percepção em boca um pouquinho menos adocicada, quiçá um pouquinho ácida, sendo abraçada, sendo juntada com um amargor muito interessante de suporte. Um amargor que fica em boca, deixa a nossa sensação gustativa muito ativa, pedindo, sim, um próximo gole. Então, podemos fechar a descrição de boca dessa cerveja como uma cerveja que traz, sim, os elementos vindos da fermentação, principalmente pela contribuição de Brettanomyces, trazendo essa característica um pouco mais de fazenda animalesca, um pouco de picância, contribuição do lúpulo, principalmente na questão do amargor, e um suporte vindo da base maltada. O aftertaste dessa cerveja é extremamente seco e agradável. Uma cerveja muito instigante, que tem muita personalidade e nos abre uma oportunidade da gente trazer a história da harmonização de uma forma muito diferenciada para essa cerveja. De cara, penso essas notas mais rústicas, essas notas um pouco mais animalescas, penso ela fazendo um par muito interessante com queijos, igualmente com um trabalho diferenciado de alguns fungos e leveduras, maturados por um pouquinho mais de tempo para desenvolver uma certa picância, né? Para desenvolver uma certa complexidade. Então, queijos semiduros com longo período de maturação casam muito bem com essa cerveja. Uma outra oportunidade de harmonização que penso com essa cerveja é um prato típico brasileiro que a gente usualmente consome no nosso dia a dia, que é o famoso arroz, feijão, carne e batata. Por que isso? Porque é uma cerveja que tem todo esse elemento dessa base caramelizada, fazendo uma semelhança com o grelhado da carne, trazendo um pouco mais dessa complementação em boca em relação aos temperos que normalmente a gente utiliza na culinária e na gastronomia brasileira, tornando-se um prato que geralmente a gente usa no dia a dia como um prato um pouco mais sofisticado para comemorar situações especiais como a gente tem hoje, por exemplo. Para finalizar, gostaria de contar uma breve historinha sobre, né, o rótulo dessa cerveja, que traz aqui uma carpa e um anel. A gente atribui, né, essa figura, reza a lenda, que essa figura ilustra talvez ali o acontecimento de um milagre, né, onde uma condessa pede o seu anel de noivado ali próximo onde hoje é a abadia de Orval, né, e faz uma prece caso ela recuperasse, né, esse anel. E logo após essa prece, eis que de uma forma um pouco mágica, ela vê a carpa surgindo com o anel em sua boca, e ela, né, ao resgatar o seu anel, tinha prometido que construiria uma abadia naquele local, caso isso acontecesse. Então, mais uma questão muito inusitada a respeito dessa, que sem dúvida nenhuma é a cerveja trapista mais diferente, mais complexa e mais cheia de camadas de sabor que eu conheço. Creio que seja isso. Gostaria de agradecer a todos, principalmente aos jurados. Saúde e muito obrigado.
Thank you, Rodrigo, to give us some ideas about this nice beer and about the yeast which is there inside. A Trappist beer is a little bit the moment that the heaven touches earth, and this is always a divine moment. It's always hard in the final to compare the different finalists. And this year we thought a little bit to find a way that you can compare them. Also in the live stream you can follow. And perhaps you will find out where the red line is of this afternoon when we look for the second beer, which is there, hide it. I'm still waiting for the explanation what an unwavering dedication is. But now the next guy is waiting. It's Renee Fel from Austria.
Ja, alles gehört. Warum ist mein Zettel weggenommen?
He said everything is fine. Alles gut, wie man sagen.
Bestens.
Renee, you're from Vienna.
Yeah.
And yesterday in the blind tasting, for the beer styles, there was always also a Vienna lager. Did you get it in the blind tasting?
Yeah. Got it, yeah.
So Vienna, that's your town.
Ich war in der Sekunde sehr sicher. Vor allem, ich trinke nie bayerisch Schmerzen, also ist mir nichts anderes überblieben, auch ehrlicherweise. Aber ich war so sicher und habe mir gedacht, das kann nur ein Schwächer der Wiener Lager sein, und ich hoffe, und ja, ich habe einfach viel gehofft auch, muss ich ehrlich zugeben.
Perfekt.
Aber ein bisschen Glück gehört dazu, so ehrlich müssen wir sein.
Hope never dies.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll look what we can find here. Again, we'll look for a glass. Philip behind the stage is coming, but most important thing is the beer. Renee, your beer is here.
Alright. So, liebe Leute, einmal vielen Dank für euer Vertrauen. Danke, dass ich nochmal da sein darf. Das freut mich wirklich sehr. Und ich freue mich noch viel mehr, dass ich euch jetzt noch einmal ein Bier präsentieren darf. Und unsere Reise führt uns heute zu Zundert. Ja, das war auch mein erster Gedanke. Ja. Zundert, eine Trappistenbrauerei. Ich denke mal, jeder von uns, der in dem Raum ist, hat vielleicht schon mal von den Trappisten gehört, aber lasst mir ein paar Worte dazu sagen, weil ich glaube, es ist einmal wichtig zu wissen, wer sind die Trappisten. Und die Trappisten sind quasi ein Orden der Zisterzienser, des strengen Observanz. Und da ist es halt üblich, quasi, wenn man zu diesem Orden gehört, dass man eben diverseste Trappistenprodukte quasi auf den Markt bringen kann, wenn man das möchte. Und unter anderem gibt es auch ein paar Klöster, die Bier brauen. Was für uns einmal eine prinzipiell sehr gute Sache ist. Und ganz wichtig dabei ist halt, wann dürfen wir Bier brauen und wann dürfen wir sagen, wir sind Trappisten. Eine Trappistenbrauerei in dem Fall. Da gibt es sogar so ein kleines Trappist-Logo meistens am Etikett, dass man weiß, es ist authentisch, es gibt ein gewisses Regelwerk, also es muss sehr, sehr nah am Kloster liegen, es muss unter Aufsicht der Mönche gebraut werden und es soll quasi der Erhaltung dem Kloster dienen, es soll einem guten Zweck zukommen, vielleicht muss man auch mal ein anderes Kloster supporten, weil dort halt vielleicht auch was zu tun wäre, oder man investiert eben in soziale Projekte, also prinzipiell eine sehr gute Sache. Wichtig auch, damit man quasi einfach sich schützen kann, damit nicht jeder einfach sagt, hey, das ist Trappistenbier und wir machen Geld damit, sondern es soll ja wirklich einen Zweck erfüllen. Und darum finde ich persönlich, ist es eine gute Sache. In dem Fall haben wir das Reihen der Bier Nummer 4, ein Bier, das ich persönlich noch nicht getrunken habe. Darum freue ich mich jetzt schon mal drauf, muss ich ehrlich sagen, weil ich trinke immer gerne mal ein neues Bier. Und ich sage mal, schwenken wir es gleich einmal ein. Sorry. Das Bier, also wenn man dachte, Trappistenbier, oft denkt man immer so dran, da kommen meistens so Biere daher wie ich es vorher schon gesagt habe, eher so mehr Körper, ein bisschen deftiger, kräftiger. Aber in dem Fall schlanke 4% Alkohol laut Etikett. Also ich bin schon sehr gespannt, wie das Bier zu mir passen wird. In dem Fall sehen wir orange, eine wirklich schöne orange Farbe, es leuchtet im Licht, schneeweißer Schaum, ganz leicht opal, also wirklich schön ausgelagert. Wirklich weiße Schneedecke obendrauf, ganz fein, stabil, haftet am Glas. Sehr fein. Ein paar schauen schon durstig aus, ich habe so das Gefühl, der ein oder andere würde gerne mit mir das Bier gern teilen. Die Flasche ist doch leider ein bisschen klein, aber wer möchte, kann nachher gerne noch einen Schluck haben von mir, sehr gerne. Ich rieche mal rein. Okay, also es ist wirklich so, es ist das Gegenteil von mir. Ein sehr leichtes Bier, obwohl es ein bisschen, wie soll ich sagen, es schaut ein bisschen nach Honig aus, es riecht auch ganz leicht nach Honig, aber es hat sehr fruchtige Anklänge, kräutrige Anklänge. Also es macht schon mal wirklich so, der erste Eindruck ist einmal ein sehr, sehr feiner Eindruck, den ich sehr genieße, weil also dieses Kräutrige, das spricht mich richtig an. Also in Österreich, wenn ich so schnell drüber riechst, würde ich sagen, das hat ein bisschen was von einem Almdudler. Also wirklich ziemlich cool, erinnert mich dann auch gleich wieder ein bisschen an die Heimat, das ist gut. Wenn ich den ersten Schluck nehme ich natürlich gleich einmal. Ja, gut, also es ist wirklich schlank, ganz leichte Süße, das fruchtige, kräutrige, das bleibt da, wechselt sich dann ab mit dem Spiel, so ein bisschen eine bittere kommt dann hinten nach, die bleibt dann lange da und dann ganz wenig Malz löst das Ganze wieder ab und man kriegt eigentlich gleich Lust, den nächsten Schluck zu machen. Und mich persönlich überrascht das Bier wirklich sehr positiv. Also ich hätte mit dem nicht gerechnet, muss ich ehrlich sagen. Ich finde es wirklich geil. Und, sorry, man muss diese Momente auskosten, das ist sehr schön. Und ja, manchmal stellt man sich oft die Frage so, ja, wann trinkt man so ein Bier? Ne? Das ist nicht immer so einfach zu beantworten. Natürlich muss ich jetzt sagen, ja, dort wo wir es kaufen können vielleicht, ist eine Option natürlich. Aber ich würde sagen, für mich persönlich hat es sogar wirklich was sommerlich Leichtes. Also dieses Kräutrige, das macht mir wirklich Spaß. Da kann man sicher mehrere trinken. Ich weiß, don't drink and drive, aber ich würde sagen, das ist ein Autofahrerbier. Das ist ganz gut, schmeckt gut, kann man Spaß haben. Trotzdem bitte übertreibt es nicht, gell? Und jetzt kommen wir dann immer zum Thema so, jetzt wissen wir, okay, wir trinken so ein bisschen sommerlich, macht Spaß, sitzen wir warm Wasser, gemütliche Runde. Aber ja, irgendwann werden wir hungrig auch. Ne? Also diese leichte Bittere, es motiviert einen schon. Also ich bin so ein Typ, ich glaube, man sieht es auch ein bisschen, ich wäre schneller mal hungrig auch beim Bier trinken. Und in dem Fall ist es halt so, ich sehe da eher wirklich was Leichtes. Also für mich wäre es dann auch wieder ein bisschen untypisch dann, was ich bestelle vielleicht, aber so ein Salat, wirklich bunte Salatmischung, gegrillte Hühnerbrust, klingt jetzt simpel, aber warum? Ist auch leicht. Diese Kräuternote, die harmoniert sicher mit dem Salat und auch dem Händel. Es soll ja das Gericht auch nicht zerstören oder übertauchen. Das wäre ja ganz schlecht, weil sonst hätten wir ja irgendwie dann keinen Spaß an dieser Kombination. Und da sehe ich mich aber wieder zum Beispiel persönlich so mehr im Käsebereich, weil ich esse sehr gern Käse, ich trinke auch gern Bier dazu. Und da habe ich gern so einen leichten Ziegenkäse dazu. Also leichter Ziegenkäse ist das, wo sich die Aromen wieder verbinden würden. Das wird für mich super. Also ich hätte jetzt richtig Lust drauf. Also falls wer einen da hat, sagt es mir Bescheid. Hätte ich richtig Lust drauf. Also ich weiß zumindest, dass die in Österreich hat viel zum Essen mit, aber Ziegenkäse haben wir keinen. Aber man lernt ja dazu fürs nächste Mal vielleicht. Ja, also es tut mir wirklich leid, dass die Flasche so klein ist, aber ich hoffe, der eine oder andere bekommt noch einen Schluck davon ab. Und möchte sagen, nochmal auf unser aller Wohl und vielen Dank für eure Aufmerksamkeit. Macht's es gut. Dankeschön. Mag noch wer?
Renee Fel, ladies and gentlemen, from Vienna. I love this recommendation for a salad, which he called very untypical for him. And now we had Renee presenting a Doppelbock, which was very heavy, and a beer which was more thin in body, like he described it. And I really loved his shoes. So, depending his shoes, the red line of the afternoon. I think we are closer at the red line. And perhaps you think, okay, I heard the Trappist story now the second time. But to be honest, most of us who are sitting here, and also perhaps some of you guys at the live stream, we know the stories which are told here on the stage. Everyone knows the IPA story. Everyone knows the Porter story. Everyone knows the Salvator story. But it's always interesting to hear it from another perspective. And the next perspective is waiting. It's the perspective from Switzerland of Cindy Elenbust. Cindy, yesterday in the off-flavor tasting, you were in the group of guys with the highest score. Mm-hmm. What is your secret, depending of flavors?
Well, actually, it was really surprising because usually low flavors isn't really my Steckenpferd.
Yeah.
No idea what's it called in English. I was just some of them were really obvious. and the others were like hints of it, and good nose, good luck, and
Good character.
good, thanks.
Thank you for answering in English, because the other
Oh,
guys, I
German.
asked them in English, and the first one was very lucky, funny, because he answered me in Portuguese, and
Okay.
until now I don't know what he said. But now
I could have answered in Swiss German then.
perfect. You can switch now during your presentation,
To Swiss German.
like you want.
No, just kidding.
No,
Just
the
kidding.
translator is.
No. English.
So I give you your beer and
Deutsch.
give you the stage. You have here a glass, and beer number 3 is this one.
So. Also zuerst mal herzlich willkommen. Ich freue mich wirklich sehr, wieder auf der Bühne stehen zu dürfen und jetzt mit einem wirklich absolut tollen Bier. Das ist das Westmalle. Das Westmalle ist eine der sogenannten Trappistenbrauereien. Trappistenbrauereien in Belgien, wo Westmalle her ist, gibt es 5 insgesamt. Und eben mit Trappisten haben wir hier das sogenannte Hexagon, dieses 6-6, welches vom ATP, also Authentic Trappist Brewery, vergeben wird. Dass die Brauerei überhaupt dieses Siegel bekommt, müssen mehrere Faktoren zusammenstimmen. Zu einen dürfen und müssen Mönche am Brauprozess teilhaben. Sie müssen nicht wirklich selbst brauen, sie sind einfach irgendwie am Brauprozess betätigt. Das andere ist, die Brauerei darf und muss innerhalb des Geländes des Klosters sein. Und zum Dritten, was auch immer Geld gewonnen wird, muss zu karitativen Zwecken verwendet werden. Sprich, es fließt wieder zurück in die Brauerei und was übrig bleibt, geht an karitative Zwecken. Was auch immer die Brauerei oder die Kloster dann als karitativ haben. Gehen wir zu Westmalle rüber. Ich öffne jetzt mal die Flasche. Und schenk's ein. Wir sehen hier schon mal ein sehr schönes, dunkelbraunes Bier mit rötlicher Schimmer, vor allem wenn ich jetzt so richtige Lichtquelle habe, sehr schön, wunderbarer, feinporiger, homogener Schaum. Lädt eben wie auch schon das vorige Bier wirklich zum Schnuppern ein und jetzt sage ich mal, nehmen wir eine Nase davon. In der Nase habe ich zuerst relativ wenig. Ist bei mir meistens so, bist etwas angespannt, stehst auf der Bühne, ist für mich nicht so alltägliches Ding. Deswegen sage ich, nehme ich mal eine zweite davon. Vielleicht schwenke ich mal was, weil dann sind die Aromen, die kommen dann etwas weiter. Jetzt habe ich wirklich so eher brotige, ich habe malzige Noten, ich habe sehr fruchtige Noten. Es geht rein ins fast apfelmäßig, erstaunt mich jetzt wirklich, rosinenmäßig. Und jetzt würde ich mal sagen, ich habe vom etwas längeren Reden jetzt schon einen sehr trockenen Mund und würde sagen, ich genehmige mir jetzt mal, der Jury natürlich auch einen Schluck und die was haben, sagen wir jetzt alle mal Prost zusammen, so gaute. Prost. Im Abgang, die Rezenz ist sehr milde, es ist nur leicht musierend. Für mich kommt als allererste ziemlich alkoholische, weil das Bier, das hat 7 Volumenprozent, es ist ein Double, also ein typisch belgischer Bierstil. Kommt auch jetzt wirklich die Dörrobst fast pflaumenmäßig ran. Es hat für mich Röstaromen, ist natürlich auch aufgrund der Farbe so, weil es hat Röstmalz drin oder einfach dunkler Malz, der kommt wirklich so für mich auch fast schokoladig wunderschön. Und immer zum Bier trinken. Nur Bier trinken macht ja lustig. Wir wollen ja lustig sein, ist sehr gut. Aber man sollte auch was essen dazu. Essen, ich komme aus Luzern, aus der Schweiz. Meine Mutter ist aus der Ostschweiz, im Kanton Graubünden, wo Rätoromanisch gesprochen wird. Und dort haben wir die Torte da Nusch, die Bündner Nusstorte. Finde ich sehr gut, weil die Bündner Nusstorte hat so einen Teig da, so einen Mürbeteig, da hast du das Süße wirklich auch von der Nuss. Das Nussige, was ich hier wirklich vorstellen kann, ist sehr gut geprägt mit dem Süße des Honigs, was wir im Bündner Nusstorte haben. Auch die Süße dieses Bier hier, weil ich eher süße Charakter haben. Ich nehme jetzt noch mal einen Schluck, guck mal nach bittere. Ja, bittere vorhanden, aber wirklich sehr, sehr subtil für mich und deswegen nochmals besser dieses Food Pairing. Ich mag halt süß und süß, ist für mich nicht doppelt süß, sondern es ist halt so eine harmonierende Süße. Jetzt zur Brauerei komme ich nochmal, wir haben ja gesagt, das ist eine belgische Brauerei, ja, sie ist selber in Westmalle. Westmalle hat natürlich auch andere Biere, unter anderem ein Triple, was ich sage, was eigentlich Westmalle die Mutter aller Biere, das Triple ist, haben wir jetzt hier natürlich ein Double, da haben sie noch ein dritter Bierstil, muss ich überlegen, weiß ich jetzt nicht, hätte ich vielleicht nicht sagen sollen, weil sagst ja nicht was du nicht machst. Ich dachte eigentlich, ich wusste, habe ich jetzt vergessen, kommt vielleicht auch von etwas Nervosität und deswegen würde ich einmal sagen, ich wünsche euch einen wunderschönen Nachmittag, nehme jetzt das Bier und das Glas mit und verabschiede euch mit einem Prost und so Gaute. Abschieds!
Thank you, Cindy. Sweet, and then you have harmonious sweet. Perhaps it's a good description for Cindy too. And also in the semi-final, she had a dark beer. Now again, a dark beer has something to do with the black T-shirt of the Swiss team, perhaps, I don't know. Also from Switzerland, amber is an important beer style there, and it's also more a dark beer than a bright one. If you're wondering what happened here, why do we need a table? The finalists behind perhaps are drinking too much beer and need something like a pillow or whatever, or more pillow. The next participant needs a table for his performance. The jury will decide if this is good or not. And we will look what a table could. Where's the combination between a table and a beer? We don't know, but there is a guy who knows it. It's Dennis Kurt. Please come to the stage. Dennis, you work at the Drinkers Pub. That's a funny name. And you offer there over 1,000 beers. So if a common lager beer drinker is sitting in your bar, how do you find out in short sentences which beer you can offer him that he is satisfied?
Well, good question. I think the good thing is, Jens, we have 30 drafts, and we always have multiple lagers. And because of my virtue with the Reinheitsgebot, now we have a nice alt on draft. Sometimes we have Kölsch, we have some beers from Bavaria always on draft. And we just start to ask, what kind of lager you like? And then if they say Heineken, then unfortunately we do not serve that, but that doesn't mean that we don't have products from the Heineken concern or something like that. So we always try to give the beer what the person demands, and the best thing about having 30 drafts is that you can always provide people with a small sip, and then they get enthusiastic and maybe they are convinced to join the dark side of the rest of specialty beer.
Perhaps. Thank you. We will see if you have a sip of this beer, if it's more dark or bright, and what's behind the top secret. I show you the beer, and then the stage is yours.
Servus, hallo. Ich möchte gerne auf Deutsch anfangen. Entschuldigung, mein Deutsch ist nicht so gut. Aber Jens hat gesagt gestern, dass die Leute hier in die Halle hatten alle sehr viel Liebe für das Bier. Und das habe ich auch. Aber mein Herz brennt jeden Tag seit 10 Jahren für das Reinheitsgebot. Und alles, was ich selbst braue mit meiner Brauerei, alles, was wir mit die Drinkers Pub probieren zu machen, ist etwas weniger Pastry Stout und etwas wirklich schöne Bieren mit weniger Ingredienten. Und oft die Frage kommt, dann frag mal, aber können Sie tolle Bieren brauen? Nach 150 verschiedenen Rezepten kann ich schon sagen, ja, Sie können tolle Bieren brauen mit Reinheitsgebot. Aber das ist ein bisschen schwierig. Aber ich liebe das und ich glaube, dass das sehr toll ist. Ich habe auch schon gesagt, dass ich das Frankenland sehr gern mache, aber das habe ich schon erklärt in der ersten halben Final. Aber muss ich auch sehr sagen, dass Deutschland eine riesen tolle Bierkultur hat und von Niederlande aus muss ich sagen, danke für das. So I'm very sorry for the guys that could not understand that bit. It was German, or at least a Dutch guy trying to pronounce German. I'm very sorry if I made some grammar mistakes. I know how you guys are like. I just wanted to say a warm welcome from the Netherlands. I'm very humble and very grateful to be here. I think we've been living all up to this moment for a very long time, and then to have a beer so close to home for me to pour to you guys and tell a little bit about, amazing. So that's very good. We have a Trappist beer, and I have unfortunately already know that all the others have also had a Trappist beer. So how, as the fourth person on stage, how can I get your attention? Well, I visited all of them except 2. And I've been thankful enough I've been to this one. But I've never been inside of the walls of Chimay, and I've never been inside of the walls of Trefontaine, unfortunately. I will hope to get there someday as well. Rochefort is a beautiful place. It's in the Ardennes. It's in the south side of Belgium, and it's a great foresty area. And the abbey is located beautifully on the top of the small town. And from there you can see the small town, and there is a very small brewery in comparison. If you think about Rochefort as a brand, it's a famous Belgian Trappist where almost everywhere where you guys come from in the world, you can buy a beer of Rochefort. And then to see that it comes from such a small brewery in comparison is always very nice. The Rochefort beer is brewed since at the end of 1800s. And they brew 4 different beers. So they have the 6, the 8, the 10, and most recently the triple added to their assortment. They wear the authentic Trappist logo, like all the other beers that probably are under 5 and under 6. So I will not go in too deep with that, but there has to be a charity, it has to be brewed within the walls, and the combination of those two makes, you can apply for a Trappist logo. Also, someone from the monastery needs to work inside of the brewery or has to keep supervision. For me, I was first a bit sad when I finally met one of the head monks at a Trappist brewery. Because, as you can see, I like beer, I am enthusiastic about beer, And then you come in this monastery, and then you're like, oh, we get a tour. Oh, we get beer. And they're like, yes, we have beer on Sunday. Oh, what? On Sunday? Yeah, not every Sunday. We have a beer. I said, but you are the brew. How does it? No, we drink, yes, but... Oh, and then I said, you drink the strong stuff. No, the strong stuff is only for very special occasions. And they are very timid. Siristijnen, the monks, they have work and pray. And those are the two things combined that they do. And they are very humble and very down-to-earth people. I want to tell one more story about a monk, and then I'm sure I will get to the beer, don't worry. I met a monk at Westmalle, I think 10 years back, and it was a very nice gentleman, very polite again. He was a Belgian guy who decided to live in Westmalle, and he liked chickens. Sorry, he liked chickens. So at Westmalle, his job was looking after these chickens. So he was there for such a long time, this gentleman, that he has developed the monk chicken. So he had a white crest and black wings, so that it looked like them, because their traditional clothing is very down to earth with white and black. So this guy was doing the chickens. And then I also asked him the question, like, do you drink beer then? He said, yes, I like beer, sure, but I really love chickens. And I love working, and I love God. And like, as I said, the monks have a very, very, very stern life. It's a very hard life. And then to have a product that creates so much joy and so much love from you guys here in the audience, and to have that combined with that, it's pretty weird. That's a pretty weird change. So, sorry for all the talking, but I will go to the beer. It's a beer with high CO2. It's bottle fermented. Same as the first beer I had on the semifinals. You can see there's a difference in the bubbles here, the difference in bubble size. But I poured it quite correctly because I left the yeast in the bottle. I think with Rochefort, especially if you have this division, at least in where I'm from, in the Netherlands and Belgium, we have a division between Rochefort 8 people and Rochefort 10 people, so which they like and prefer more. You would have guessed I am an 8, of course, because I like drinkability, I like that beer. And then the one that misses out on this conclusion is maybe the best beer of the brewery. It's the 6. The 6 has 7.5% alcohol. It's, as you can see, mahogany, amber colored. In the smell, we have not that typical Abbey notes you would normally expect from Trappist beer. And with Abbey notes, I believe the banana and clove, maybe some fennels, I think has a lot of complexity to it. For me, the Rochefort, because the 6, the 8, and 10 are almost partly the same ingredients. The 8 and the 10 are exactly the same, but then with a different amount of water used. The 6 is also very close to that. So when we have this beer, you really get the sense of drinking a Rochefort. I will invite the jury now to have a sip with me. Thank you. Wow. We start with like a drying feeling in the mouth. So we have a lot of dryness, but then it's very sweet. So the combination of these two is very nice. The CO2, the caramelized malts, the sugar that is in this beer combines that you have a dry fermented, a little bit dry fermented, but still some residual sugars left in it. The Trappist beers are normally not so known for being drinkable and being easy to pair with food that is maybe something lighter. But I believe that this beer can do that exact job. It's quenchable. It leaves your mouth dry, even though it's sweet. I don't know if the guys put it under here. just before I came on stage, but I actually like the fact that this beer is not ice cold. For me, as a rule of thumb, I like to use the alcohol percentage as the serving temperature. So I hope that this gives the best result. Furthermore, I want to say that the complexity of the yeast really adds in the aftertaste. So I feel this warming sensation, and even though it's not the strongest ones of Rochefort, you still have a small, higher alcohol burn. So you still get a little bit of this warmth on the top of your chest, which is a very nice feeling. Good. Then, for those of you who were thinking I was going to do a magic act, I am very sorry to disappoint you. It's not. But in this case, I would definitely go for some roasted beef and maybe some grilled vegetables, maybe something very local from the region of the south of Belgium. So I would go for witlof, a very classic dish there. A little bit of bitterness is in that. But as you can see, it doesn't fit. And I didn't bring a whole cook set with me, but I did prepare something else. Because one thing, after all this time that I'm here with you guys, and listen, when you come on stage and you tell stories about where you're from, your food, things that you guys like. I don't know how Italian blah 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 tastes or Brazilian blah 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 tastes, and then you are talking like it's great, and then nobody can try it. So, in this case, please give a warm welcome for my assistant. There you go. Thank you. My future wife, Annelies, is so kind to help me. So what we have for the jury here, and maybe we have enough, but totally I don't have enough beer for everybody. What I have for you is a kletskop, which is a Dutch cookie. This cookie is like mostly sugar, caramelized. You can see the bottom on when it's caramelized. And in this case, this one is made with peanuts. So if there's an allergy, then please don't eat it. Normally it's made with almonds. And I chose this cookie to pair and to bring it here because I think the caramelization of the cookie will work perfectly with the caramelization in the beer. You guys know how to food pair, but I'll just talk to them. I'll take a small sip, bite at the cookie, and I finish with a small sip. And the residual sweetness in the beer now gets enhanced. The cookie loses its peanut flavor a little bit, but you get in the residual, you get more sugars and you get more complexity. Well, as I tried to show you during my presentation, I like drinkable beers. I really love the German Weihnachtsgebot. I'm very sorry, I cannot stress this enough. And I just wanted to say, if I haven't convinced you guys to drink more drinkable beers, then I would like to convince you of the quality of Dutch cookies, because I brought a ton. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dennis. The reason I really love the Dutch guys is they also clean everything what they transported before. So it's always easy with Dutch groups. If Dutch groups are visiting Stibon, it's always one of the highlights. And Dennis, you told there are Rochefort 8 and Rochefort 10 people. I'm a Rochefort 10 people. Yes, I am. But you said there was only beer on Sunday, so praise God that today is Sunday. And we will have beer later on. We still have 2 finalists. And after that, of course, we had outside some beers. Some of you still have beers here inside. Perhaps don't forget to take the empty bottles also outside of here, because normally this is not a bar. This is a conference room. For us in the beer world, it's normal to drink beer during a conference, but not here in this building. So please take everything which you have emptied out of this room. It's easier for everyone, but it's good to have a beer during the presentation, not only the jury. For you, it's hard work, and for us, it's enjoyment. Yeah, that brings me back to our sponsors. One is Kamba. This is the sponsor for the beer. And the others are mentioned here, so if you are in need something depending on beer, you will find a solution in every part. We talked about glasses, we talked about hops, and we are grateful that the sponsors make it possible, that also the next participant can come to the stage. It's Leon Rodenburg. Leon, in your email, you wrote me some sentences about the perfect beer, and then you wrote, now it's more the perfect situation that certain beer styles fit.
Yes.
And after the final, which beer will be the perfect beer style for the situation after the final for you?
It depends on what food you have organized at the dinner.
Okay, a lot of different ones. So you.
Okay, so then there are a lot of suitable styles, I would guess.
So this is has something to do with the food and not with the result of the competition.
I think just after the championship, even if the result is not good, any beer will work. So that's a moment where the perfect beer is any beer.
So we have the perfect beer.
You always have the perfect beer after the World Championship.
Perfect. Let's see if it's the perfect beer during the World Championship. Beer number 5 for you.
Can I start? Yes. Okay. Dear members of the jury, dear members of the audience, and dear viewers from all over the world, welcome back to another presentation by me, and this time it's my final presentation. Again, my name is Leon Rodenburg. I'm owner, brewer, and beer sommelier at Bierbrouwerij de Magistraat in Almkerk, Noord-Brabant. And that it is in Noord-Brabant, you will find out later that that's actually a very important fact for the rest of my presentation. As a beer sommelier, my goal was to understand my own beer better, to be able to say if what I brew is actually what it needs to be, if it's perfect or not. And that's why I became a beer sommelier about 4 years ago. And since then, I've been also training for the World Championships, and I have participated before, and I stood on this stage 3 years ago. So I'm very honored and proud that I can be here again. Before we dive into the perfect beer that I am going to present to you, I want to take you on a small trip. A trip to Noord-Brabant. It's the southern province of the Netherlands. So let's imagine you're walking around the fields. You see a lot of grass, cows. We have no hills in the Netherlands, or almost none. So maybe slightly hilly, but not much. And suddenly you see a building pop up in the scenery. And it looks like a church. You walk in, you see people walking around, people with hoods, with clothing. They look like monks, but they don't talk. Very strange. You walk around the building, you see the inside of the church. It's beautiful. You walk around another corner, suddenly you see a brewery. Like, okay, that's interesting. But there's one thing that you will actually hear or not hear. It's completely silent. People don't talk. The monks don't talk. And actually the slogan of this brewery that I'm going to present to you is enjoy the silence. So today we're going to enjoy the silence with this beer. This beer is, like I said, a beer brewed in a monastery, and then specifically a very special monastery. It's a Trappist monastery. So the monks there adhere to the Trappist rules, and they adhere to ora et labora, which is Latin for prayer and work. So that's what they do. They don't fully live in silence. There are certain times of day that they're allowed to talk, and there are certain times of day that they're not allowed to talk. But what they also do is brew beer. And to me, this is one of the beers that has been one of the biggest inspirations for what I brew. And to me, this is actually the perfect example of this style that we're going to taste. So La Trappe is a Trappist brewery, and to be a Trappist, you have to get certified, and there are certain rules that you need to adhere to. The funny thing about La Trappe is that they have a connection to a commercial brewery, which technically is not always allowed, but in their case, the commercial brewery is mainly responsible for distribution, which is allowed. In the brewery, they're not allowed to make profits, so anything that they make, any profits, they go back to the brewery and they go back to the monks and to making their living quarters better and to help the rest of our society. Unfortunately, La Trappe is going to be the only Trappist beer from the Netherlands. We have another Trappist beer, Zundert, but the Zundert Abbey is closing down because nobody is choosing monk as a new job. I also didn't choose monk as my profession. I chose brewing, which is close enough, but I'm not a monk. So luckily, La Trappe will be here to stay around, and we'll be able to enjoy this beer a lot longer than that we'll be able to enjoy the Trappist beer of Zundert. This beer is a triple. It's 8% alcohol. And while I'm going to open it for you, I will tell a little bit about the triple. A triple is, you see in commercials and in places where commercial activities are happening, you see in the marketing that a triple is generally in a wooden cask, and you see a monk write 3 crosses on the cask, like this is the triple. But triple is actually a quite young beer style. Because in early days, because of our malting technology, we weren't even able to make beers that have this color. So while I'll pour it from the bottle, you can see that it's a very light colored beer, which in history, when the monks started working, brewing, wasn't even possible. Because the fires that were used to kiln malt were actually always open, so the fire would caramelize, burn slightly the malt, and light beers were not possible. The first triple is actually named so by Westmalle, another Trappist brewery. And it was around the 1950s that their beer actually came into effect. Of course, for marketing activities and marketing, commercial sort of goals, you always see these monks drawing and striping on the wooden kegs. This beer is not brewed in a wooden keg anymore. It's not put there, it's not fermented there. This is fermented in a very beautiful, highly modern brewery that was installed by the monks. So even on brewing technology, they know what they're doing. It's one of the most beautiful places you could ever see when it comes to brewing. I think it's time to have a smell, at least. Or let's smell first. I invite the jury to do the same. So the first smell of the beer, you smell, I always call this Belgium. And that is, when people know, they know. And if you don't know, it's quite weird to hear that you smell Belgium. But all the brewers in the room, they will be like, oh yes, Belgium. And the people that don't brew, they're like, what is he talking about? But I'm talking about the aromas and the characteristics that you get when you use a Belgian top fermenting yeast. And that was used for this beer. And it gives it quite a lot of banana, clovey, maybe some chemical notes, solventy. Those notes are all in this beer, with a slight background hint of the malt that was used. A triple is generally mainly Pils malt, sometimes some specialty malt, but it's mainly Pils malt and sugar. The sugar is used to give it more alcohol, but keep the body low, so it stays drinkable. So that is what I would expect if I take a sip. Then if we look at the beer, I mentioned the color. It's quite pale. It's a bit orangey colored. The foam was quite coarse. It wasn't very fine. It's also because of the temperature of the beer. It's quite warm, so I would serve it a little bit cooler than this. But you can see that at least there's some foam on top, and you can see the bubbles rising in the glass, which to me suggests that this is going to be an effervescent beer with quite a lot of carbonation. Let's take a sip, and I invite the jury to do this also. The first thing you immediately notice is the carbonation. So it's quite highly carbed. It's re-fermented in the bottle. That's what you can see as well, because you can see some yeast and other things float around in the glass, depending on how you pour. But that re-fermentation adds a lot of carbonation to the beer. And that is, I guess, one of the most deciding factors for a triple to me. Triples are supposed to have high carbonation. And that's why I also like it that they're still serving this in a bottle, because you can make triples and put them in a can. You see that more and more in the craft beer scene as well. But triples from cans are generally quite flat. I miss carbonation. This beer, in that sense, to me, is perfect because it has the right amount of carbonation. It refreshes the mouth, and you don't really notice it's 8% alcohol. So that to me means that it's brewed well, and it's also very dangerous because it's easy to overdrink this beer. Just drink slowly. Note the alcohol 8%. After the carbonation, the second thing you notice is that it's quite dry. And retronasally, you get quite a lot of those solventy alcohol notes at first, but they go off into fruity notes, apricot, peaches maybe, some banana still, and you can still notice some of the cloviness that's in there. That's all from the fermentation. Hops are used because they have to be used, but they're not used in a very high amount. The key role of this beer is given to the yeast. So if you don't have this yeast, the same yeast that La Trappe is using, you will never be able to brew this beer. So one of the goals I had at a brewery was to find out which yeast they are using. And I think I have found it. So I've been working hard to recognize all the Belgian yeasts, and I think I found the yeast that La Trappe is using. And the beers that I can brew with that, I very much like. So this beer has been a great inspiration to me in that sense. Then we need to pair this with something. Like Jens mentioned in my text that I wrote for the World Cup, I was talking about the perfect beer. As a brewer, I'm always striving for the perfect beer, well knowing that it maybe doesn't exist. So the kind of sort of the definition of insanity maybe. You strive for something that's never achievable, but I always strive for the best beer, the perfect beer. And what you need for that is also a perfect situation. The situation I'm going to paint is mainly around food, so I will talk a little bit about food pairing. And I've been studying with someone who we call the taste professor in the Netherlands. And he's actually the person that did a lot of research on taste and pairing, mainly regarding wine, but also regarding beer, other spirits, coffee, tea. You can all pair those. And in his theory, food pairing is actually more about mouthfeel than it is about aromas. And if you ask people about food pairings, they generally directly go into aromas. Like, this smells a bit like a banana, so maybe I need something with banana in it. But it's actually irrelevant at first. To get a perfect pairing, again, perfection, to get the perfect pairing, you need to talk about mouthfeel. So this beer is quite dry, and that's because of the slight bitterness that sort of cleanses your mouth, and it is very carbonated. So it has a lot of carbonation, and those elements sort of give it its unique possibility to pair with foods that are fatty or quite drying in itself. So for fatty food, I don't think you need anything else than cheese paired with this beer. So my first pairing, and that's a classical kind of boring pairing, would be cheese. But as you know, last time in my presentation, I also went into the Asian cuisine to find inspiration. So in this case, I also want to mention something from the Asian cuisine again. And in this case, my suggestion would be to serve this with Chinese kwa bao, and those are the bao buns that you sometimes see. So I think in Europe, they're mainly called bao buns. The Chinese word for it is kwa bao. It's like this motion is called kwa. And that a bao is a bun, so that's why it's like that. And you can fill those with a lot of things. And I would fill this with something meaty, with fat, because the carbonation of this beer will actually cut through the fat. So even after taking a bite, your mouth is going to be completely filmed, and that film will be cleared, like fully, by all the carbonation that is in this beer, and that makes you ready for the next bite from the kwa bao. So that would be my second suggestion. To get back to perfection, to me, this is the perfect triple. It was not the first triple. I mentioned Westmalle was the first to claim that. La Trappe claimed a different beer style, the quadruple, but we're talking about the triple here. To me, this is the perfect triple. It balances the right amount of aromas, it has enough dryness, it has enough carbonation, and this is, to me, the beer that I look up to. The beer wins quite a lot of prizes in competitions, like the European Beer Star that we're going to get, that's going to be announced on Wednesday again. And to me, that is totally clear why that is. To me, this is the perfect triple. I'd like to thank you very much. This was my presentation. And I wanted to end with enjoy the silence.
Thank you, Leon. If you are on the stage, silence is impossible. Especially if you leave the stage. If he's on the stage, everyone is listening. Perfect beer. Perhaps a perfect presentation. Perhaps you are wondering that a Dutch guy has a Dutch beer. But this was by accident. The order of the beers was fixed before. The beers were hidden. And then we draw the lots, so we didn't know which participant gets which beer, in this case. Same country, and we heard some interesting stories depending the La Trappe, triple, and the perfect beer, in this case from Leon. Yeah, so one beer is missing. One beer is left. I think it's easy to guess which kind of beer it could be, but we have some possibilities of breweries, and we have one possibility for the presentation. That's Oliver Klamminger from Austria.
Danke.
Oliver, it's always good to be with you on a stage. We do this more often, I think.
Yeah, nice.
And we should do it more often.
Okay.
I know you're a big basketball guy.
Right.
You're very interested in basketball. And this evening there is the final of the European Championship. Do you think you will have time to look this match?
I hope so. Why not? No, I'm rooting for the German team, so I like them a lot. I followed the tournament, so let's see what the evening brings.
Perhaps this would be a good beer. I don't know.
Probably.
Your beer, your stage.
Bevor es losgeht, keine Ahnung, wo die Kamera ist, die ins Internet streamt. Ah, cool. Schöne Grüße ans Bierland Österreich. Danke, dass ihr uns 1,5 Jahre unterstützt habt. Ohne euch wären wir nicht da. Sehr geil. Danke. Und eins muss ich noch sagen. Sonst gibt es Ärger morgen. Das ist der Glücksbringer von meiner Tochter. Sie heißt Luisa. Schöne Grüße. Danke. Und ein Stück mehr, damit ihr über meine Familie was kennenlernt. Tatsächlich, das ist unser Hochzeitsbier. Lustigerweise. Nämlich aus Belgien. In der schönen 0,75er Liter Flasche von Chimay, das Chimay Bleu. In der großen Flasche dann die Grand Reserve. Unser Hochzeitsbier war allerdings in der Doppelmagnum 3 Liter. Es hat einige Leute gebraucht, um das auszutrinken. Einige sind sogar noch da. Einige schauen gerade zu. Servus. Das Bier ist das da. Ich glaube, ihr habt in den letzten Minuten, Stunden einiges über Trappistenbiere gehört. Ja? kann sein. Ich möchte gerne meinen Teil dazu geben. Also rein optisch, was wir hier haben, ist es kommt aufs Licht drauf an, eher dunkelbraunes Bier, fast so dunkle Kastanie, weil wir haben auch rötliche Reflexe da drinnen, farblich sehr ansprechend. Es ist jetzt sehr klar, das Bier, also es scheint unfiltriert, aber wir wissen natürlich, dass bei belgischen Bieren die alle in der Flasche noch einmal nachvergoren werden und je weiter man nach unten kommt oder die Flasche aufschüttelt, dann hätten wir da eine leichte Trübung drinnen, in dem Fall nicht, dafür hat man diese schöne, ja, glänzende Farbe, also sehr, sehr schön. Die Kollegin, wo sitzt sie, hat von Herbstfarben geredet, heute schon im Halbfinale, auch sehr herbstlich eigentlich und königlich. Der Schaum ist sehr, sehr üppig, also kräftiger Schaum, lang, also ich schüttle ja schon die ganze Zeit, also man ist ja nervös auf so einer Bühne und die Hand schüttelt von selbst, fast wie Schlagsahne. Mittel- bis grobporig und nicht ganz weiß, sondern eigentlich ja, leicht bräunlich. Es erinnert ein bisschen an Kandiszucker, farblich schon. Warum sage ich das? Weil Kandiszucker auch hier gern eingesetzt wird bei dem Bier, um es schön schlank zu halten und trotzdem den Alkohol ordentlich in die Höhe zu heben. Der Blick auf die Flasche. Ich finde die Alkoholgehalte nie ganz so wichtig, außer wenn man Auto fahren muss, ist heute kein Thema mehr, aber mit 9% lasse ich lieber den Busfahrer oder den Uber-Fahrer fahren. Dann darf ich mal reinriechen. Und da ist das, was man erwartet. Ja? Das Bier wird mit Kandiszucker stärker gemacht, voller gemacht und dieser Kandiszucker ist in der Nase auch total präsent. Wenn man den einmal zur Seite schiebt, dann hat man aber auch diese Dörrobstaromen eher in die Rosinenrichtung gehend. Die Jury trinkt da schön mit oder riecht schön mit. Ihr habt ja schon einige starke Biere verkosten dürfen. Ja, hier ist das Malz ganz präsent auf jeden Fall. Belgische Hefe ist da immer interessant, aber das Malz ist so eher im Vordergrund. Die Hefe treibt das Ganze einfach nur so schön an. Also ich werde den ersten Schluck einmal nehmen. Keine Ahnung, ob ihr schon getrunken habt. Zum Wohl, liebe Leute, auf euch. Großartige Süße, die im Vordergrund ist. Der Alkohol macht sich sehr schnell bemerkbar, macht sich im ganzen Mundraum, spürt man den Alkohol, er wandert langsam runter, den ganzen Rachen, bis er dann hier ankommt und dann merkt man eigentlich, es ist so schön hoch vergoren, das ist so Brauerjargon, ja? Wenig Restsüße drinnen. Es ist dann, Alkohol da, Körper irgendwie weg, ich könnte ja weiter trinken. Es endet so schön trocken. Das ist das Ganze. Und Harmonie in einem Bier ist doch ganz was Wichtiges. Wir wollen ja Bier trinken, wir wollen Bier weiter trinken und nicht bei einem stehen bleiben. Und da funktioniert es. Und das bei 9%. Das ist, der Kollege hat es, glaube ich, vorher vorgemacht, das ist Magie. Keine Ahnung, wie er gezaubert hat. Ich lasse die Kollegen von der Trappistenbrauerei zaubern. Großartiges Bier. Und obwohl ihr wahrscheinlich schon viel zu oft jetzt was über Trappistenbiere gehört habt, muss es erwähnt werden, man muss für Trappisten sprechen. Es gibt immer weniger, mittlerweile nur mehr 9, die dieses Authentic Trappist Label auch tragen dürfen. Wann dürfen die das tragen? Wenn ein Mönch logischerweise beteiligt ist im Brauprozess, wenn die Brauerei unmittelbar in Klosternähe ist und so richtig, obwohl ich sage immer gerne, es ist fast eine Gelddruckmaschine, aber die nutzen das nicht, um wirklich Geld zu verdienen, schon, aber dann geben die das weiter und geben das auch an karitative Zwecke oder es muss fürs Kloster irgendwas gebaut werden. Das Gleiche hatten wir in Österreich, ohne dem Geld vom Bier wären die Kirchenmauern fast eingestürzt vom Stift Engelhartszell. Dafür eigentlich eine tolle Sache. Und darum müssen wir als Biersommeliers sprechen für die Trappisten, von denen hört man ja nicht so viel. Ist aber logisch, so ein Schweigeorden, der dauert. Geiler Typ, Martin. Genau, darum müssen wir für die Trappisten sprechen. In diesem Fall, das Kloster Chimay wurde gegründet von 7 Mönchen, Trappistenmönchen, die aus Frankreich mehr oder weniger geflüchtet sind, damals während der Französischen Revolution. Die wollten über die Schweiz, dann weiter über die Küste nach Kanada, aber die Franzosen haben die Küste so gut überwacht, also konnten sie da nicht hin, und dann hat mehr oder weniger das Oberhaupt von Antwerpen gesagt, na dann bleibt doch bei uns, ihr dürft euch da niederlassen und ein Kloster errichten, und seitdem haben wir die wunderbaren Trappisten dort im Kloster Chimay. Wunderschön. Und die haben lange gebraut, Bier gebraut. Ich halte mir jetzt kurz, jetzt wird es ein bisschen technisch, keine Sorge. Im Ersten und Zweiten Weltkrieg wurde leider das Kloster komplett zerstört, wie es in vielen belgischen Brauereien und Klosterbrauereien gegangen ist. Dann hat man das Ganze wieder aufgebaut, hat sich Hilfe geholt von einem Brautechnologen. Es wird gar nicht so langweilig. Jean de Clercq, ganz, ganz wichtiger Mann im belgischen Bierleben. Und der hat gesagt, na passt mal auf, ihr habt so einen gemischten Hefestrang, der da drinnen ist. Er hat den besten Hefestrang isoliert und hat damit das Bier gebraut. Und das haben wir jetzt hier. Das Chimay Bleu. Der hat ganz gute Arbeit gemacht. Die Mönche leisten da sehr, sehr gute Arbeit, wie man sieht. Ist eins der besten und schönsten Trappistenbiere. Chimay ist ja auch das größte Kloster unter den belgischen und verkauft am meisten Bier. Die Frage ist, was will man dazu essen? Ihr wollt jetzt eine Speisenempfehlung. Ich finde, Bier ist ein bisschen mehr als nur reinriechen, schmecken und dann sagen, naja, vielleicht ein Steak oder so dazu. Das ist es nicht. Bier ist Emotion, Bier ist Leidenschaft. Hier arbeiten richtige Mönche und das soll auch gehuldigt werden. Ich finde Bier, das beste Bier, das ihr wahrscheinlich getrunken habt, ist deshalb das beste Bier, weil die Situation gepasst hat, weil die richtigen Menschen dabei gesessen sind. Und dann schmeckt euch dieses Bier. Und diese Emotion, diese Situation, die soll man eigentlich kreieren. Und vielleicht gehen wir gemeinsam in diese Situation. Wir stellen uns vor, wir sind in Belgien. Ihr macht jetzt einfach alle mal die Augen zu. Just close your eyes. Also you. Wir sitzen in Belgien an der Klostermauer. Das Café schenkt gerade noch das letzte Bier aus. Absolute Ruhe. Die Mönche sagen ja nichts. Das Bier steht noch da. Wir schenken es ein. Das Einzige, was gerade zu hören ist, ein leises Gluckern. Wir waren so klug und haben uns vorher schon den kräftigen Trappistenkäse von Chimay bestellt. Der kann gern cremig sein. Wichtig ist, er muss wirklich kräftig sein, dass er damit schwingen kann mit dem starken Bier. Und wir genießen einen Schluck von dem Bier, wir essen den Käse, das Ganze verschwimmt. Die Situation ist unverwechselbar. Du hast die Augen zu. Wir trinken, vergessen eigentlich die Zeit und die Frage ist, wann hören wir auf damit? Na, wenn die Kirchenglocken läuten. Adessieu. Prost!
Oliver Klamminger. This presentation was really an eye-opener, I think. Eye-opener for Trappist beers. Thank you. So what happens now? The jury is working like the whole time. They are working and working. And working means that they have their assessment sheets. They have a formula and they give the point for several aspects. For example, the food pairing, like Oliver was mentioning it. For the food pairing, for the storytelling, for the historical part, for the technical aspects, everything is there on the assessment sheet. And then at the end, there is a result with points. And this formula, you see here Werner, Glossner, the whole afternoon, he is collecting the sheets, and directly the sheets are coming to Michael Zepf, and he puts the results into the computer. And so in some moments, we will have the results. I think it will take 3 or 4 minutes. Not long enough that you can stand up and go out, but short enough that you will see the result will be here in some moment. So please be patient, and we'll be back here on stage, also on the stream. Like we say in Austria, I'll be back.
have a world beer sommelier champion at the end. But before I tell you the name or the names of the three best, and I'm sure if I have done this, I will lose your attention. Again, thank you to some guys, to some people. First of all, I want to thank you to the whole Dömens team and all who has engaged in this. And this, for me as a boss, it's very normal to stand here because all the work is done. Jens, thank you very much. You did really a great job. As well, Michael, with his long-lasting experience, is really a pillar in our Saver Academy. Michael, thank you very much. And thank you to all the other from Dömens here, is Philipp Wetzler, Michael Eder, Andreas Hofbauer. And some colleagues more, they prepared it during the last weeks. And as one guy is really engaged as well, and he's a new colleague from next week on here, Olli Wesselo. From next week on, he will work for Dömens, and we are really happy to have convinced him. Another thank you is to the whole jury. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to Munich. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your experience. I know you did really a great job, and we need this. Without a great jury, we won't have a great champion. Yes, thank you very much. So, and another big thank you in advance to the Austrians. In 2027 we will come and we will be there. And I am convinced it will be a really good cooperation and a really good competition. Okay. The procedure has been told by Jens, how we did it. We have 6 persons in the jury, and every jury member has a sheet with different criteria, and every jury member wrote down points and sum it up. And these sheets go to an Excel sheet, and Michael typed it in, and the result for the first 3 places has been really clear. It has been very narrow between the first 3, but who is on the first 3 places, this was really clear. So let me start with the 3rd place. The 3rd place is 527 points. He's from Austria, and Oliver Klamminger. So congratulations. And it's really a hard competition. We had 93 beer sommeliers in the competition, and 3rd place. It's really great. It's really great. Okay, then we come to the second place, the silver place. And he's from the Netherlands. And it's Dennis Kort. Dennis Kort. And now let's go. Congratulations, Dennis. Great job. And now let's go to the World Beer Sommelier Champion 2025. It was a little bit narrow between the second and the first place, but I'm sure he convinced not also the jury, but as well many in the audience. And many congrats to Leon Rothenberg. It's better. You go in the middle. I think we saw really 3 great presentations. And I've seen the last 10 years a presentation at, for example, national competition, international competition. But we are now really on the top, yes. It's really good what you 3 guys here reach. Thank you very much for you.
Das dauert sowieso noch ein bisschen, ja, bis um 6.